Hello everyone, how's it going? Billy Ballgame here, back with another video. And today's video I'm excited to do. It's a few days late. We were spending time with family over the Easter weekend, doing all kinds of Easter shenanigans. But when I was doing the research for today's video, I'm going to tell you what, I had a tremendous surprise, and it really got me fired up about just kind of reinvigorated my kind of collecting fire, I guess, relit my collecting fire, so to speak, because today's video is about what I feel are truly budget Hall of Fame rookie cards. And I was amazed at how many I was able to find that truly are budget rookie cards, and a bunch of others that fall right below the threshold that I set up. But before I dive into the video, I'm going to show you some recent cards that I received from my buddy Adam from Oregon. These had probably been sitting in my P.O. box down at the post office for weeks, and I've just been too busy to get down there. So I'm going to run through these real quick. And he sent me a bunch of vintage cards and a few other ones. So this is Larry Jaster, 1968 tops, and this is just in amazing condition. That's the thing that blew me away the most about these cards when I opened them up, was just the condition that they're in. So to me, these are probably the best condition 68s that I've ever seen. This is another really cool card here. Beard for the Cardinals, Ralph Beard. I really like the 55 Bowmans. I know a lot of people don't, but I enjoy them. I think they're cool. And then I've got a couple of 59 tops here. I've got Billy Harrell, and again, just in really good condition for a 59 tops card. Sonny Hamus, longtime Cardinals manager, in a 59 tops. Ron Dennis, or Don Dennis, 66 tops. Just cool cards, because you know I'm a Cardinals fan, and he figured I would appreciate these, and he was exactly right. So thank you once again, Adam. And then here's Dick Groat, long-time Cardinals shortstop, a really good player, played on some Cardinals World Series teams. Walker Cooper. So I had never heard of Walker Cooper. This is a 57 tops. One year, I can't remember what year it was, for the Yankees, he hit like 36 home runs and had like 120, 140 RBIs, something like that, as a catcher. Was really a good player, like 1,600 and something hits for his career, I think. Was a multiple-time All-Star. Just a really good player. I'm kind of disappointed that I didn't know who he was until now. 77 tops, Keith Hernandez. One of my favorites from the Whitey Ball era of Cardinals. Just again, really good condition. This is a 67 Curt Flood. Just again, another awesome card. I'm hoping at some point in the near future to do a player spotlight on Curt Flood. And then he sent me a few Griffey cards. So I have some of these at the break cards, but I've never seen these crazy refractor versions of this. So this one is super cool. And you guys know King Griffey Jr. is my guy. So, and then here's another one. I have a few of these, and I would like to send them in and see if I can get a 10 on one of them. And this one is in really good condition too. Technically, this is King Griffey Sr.'s card, and not King Griffey Jr., but they included him on it, and I've always been a big fan of this card. Here's a 65 tops Cardinals NL pennant card. I think this is just super cool. 63 tops Aussie Smith. You guys know how much I love the Wizard. One of these days, maybe in I don't know, before I hit 60, maybe I'll get his Aussie Smith player run done. Here's a 68 Topps Red Schoendienst. Just another amazing card of one of the all-time Cardinal greats. And a Hall of Famer, Red Schoendienst. Here's a 64 Red Schoendienst. Again, just an awesome card. Thank you so much, Adam. Here's a 70 Topps Joe Torre. Again, just another really sharp card. Joe Torre, very underrated as a player. But he was really, really good. Here's what year is this? 67 Orlando Cepeda. Again, just another awesome card of a Hall of Famer. Had a few years with the Cardinals. And the Cardinals celebrate the 67 World Series. This is super cool. You've got Tim McGraw on there. Looks like Mike Shannon. I don't know who all else is in this photo, but it's just a really cool card. And then here's I don't remember what year these checklists are from, 64, somewhere around there maybe. But this one's Bob Gibson. And again, just a super clean, unmarked checklist of one of the greatest Cardinals of all time. And I'm super stoked to have these to my collection. And thanks again, Adam. And then here's a really sharp 71 Topps Steve Carlton. What a great card this is. I love the 71 Topps set. And this is just a great card. So once again, thank you, Adam. So that'll wrap up my mail day from my buddy Adam in Oregon. And he just continues to do too much. And Adam, I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. So for today's video, like I said, I've gone through and did some research, and I found some what I feel are truly budget Hall of Fame rookie cards. And the criteria that I set, and I've got notes, I've got them all written down, so I'll flip back and forth through these, and I apologize in advance. But I found 24 what I feel are truly budget Hall of Fame rookie cards. And the criteria that I set is collector grade. So if it's a card from the 60s, it's got to be graded in a 6. And the price has to be $100 or less. And I found 24 that fall into that criteria. But I also found a bunch that, you know, don't quite fall into this criteria, but aren't too far off. So for example, I've got some written down here. You know, a 48 Bowman Ralph Kiner, you can't get a 5 for under $100, right? But you can get 3s for around $100. And then a 49 Bowman George Kell, same thing. 3s are cheap. And then in 1949 Bowman, you've got Robin Roberts, Early Wynn, Richie Ashburn, and Bob Lemon that are all pretty cheap in the 3 and 4 range, around $100. And then in 51 Bowman, you've got Nellie Fox, and 4s are pretty cheap for him. I want to say around $100. And then 56 Topps, you've got Luis Aparicio. His 4s are around $100. 57 Topps, Don Drysdale. Now his 5s are about $200, but his 4s, if a 5 is $200, how much is a 4 going to be? $150 or so. So that's pretty inexpensive, I would say. And then 57 Topps also, you have Jim Bunning. And again, his 5s are around $200, but his 4s are probably in the $100 to $150 range. 58 Topps, you've got Orlando Cepeda. His 4s are around $100. And then once I get into the actual cards that fall into the criteria, I'll pop a picture of the card up here in the screen so you can all see what I'm talking about. And in some of them, I'll use the exact card that sold. And I used eBay to pull these numbers. So 58 Topps, Orlando Cepeda, his 4s are around 100 bucks. I believe his 5s are under 200, which would technically be collector grade. And then in 61 tops, Juan Marichal, his 6s are around $200. And I'm sure you can find them cheaper than that. That seems kind of high for me for what Juan Marichal has been going for here recently. And then in a 63 tops, you can get Tony Oliva for about 200 bucks in a 6. And then 65 tops, Steve Carlton, his 5 is around 100 bucks. So I would guess his 6 would probably be in the $150 to $200 range, somewhere around there. And then a 68 tops, Johnny Bench, in a 5 is around 200 bucks. And so when I was going through these cards, doing this research, like, I got geeked out because, you know, I knew some of these cards, the prices had been coming down for a little while, but I had no idea that some of these cards were as cheap as they were. And so after the National, in between grading cards and all the other things that I had planned with my money, I'll definitely be looking to pick some of these Hall of Fame rookie cards up. And then in 69 tops, Reggie Jackson, in the 4 range, is under $200. Bert Blyleven in 71 tops, his 7s are around 200 bucks. His 6s are under 100. And then the same with Ted Simmons. So for that set, of course, because of the black borders, there's a premium in 7s and higher, just because the condition is so tough on those cards. But a 6 in a 71 tops is going to look really sharp. So you can get a Bert Blyleven or a Ted Simmons for under 100 bucks in a 6. And then 80 tops, Ricky Henderson. An 8 is between $250 and $300. So that would technically be collector grade for a card from 1980. But a 7 is between $150 and $200. So for me, that's one of the biggest cards of my childhood that I grew up really, really wanting. But the prices have come down so considerably on those, and they are not tremendously expensive anymore, unless you get into, you know, above the 8 range. Like 9s are like 1,200 bucks, I think. All right, so those were some that are budget friendly, but didn't fall into the exact criteria that I went by for the purpose of this video. So those are just some other cards that I wanted to include in here. And feel free in the comments, if I missed any, please let me know. So we're going to start off with 1957 tops, Bill Mazeroski. And I mentioned him in some of my previous budget collecting videos. He's extremely cheap for a Hall of Fame rookie card, and just for a Hall of Famer in general. His cards are really cheap. But a PSA 5 sold on March 24th for $86 for a 1957 tops. And for a Hall of Fame rookie card that is that old, you know, in a 5, that's completely insane to me. So, number 1, Bill Mazeroski, 1957 tops. And again, there are 24 of these. So then we've got a skip. So there are a bunch of other ones in 57 tops. There's, you know, Don Drysdale. There's Jim Bunning. There's Frank Robinson, Brooks Robinson. Frank and Brooks don't fall into this criteria, right? So we're going to move ahead, and I already touched on the Orlando Cepeda. So we're going to skip ahead to 1960. So a 1960 tops, Jim Cott, PSA 6s are right around the $100 range. And again, this is, to me, a great card. As you all know, I'm working on the 1960 top set. I have a Jim Cott rookie in a 3.5 that I'm going to upgrade at some point. So for me, it's great to know that I can find a 5 for probably 50, 60 bucks. or a 6 for 100. And it's just, I really like the rookie cards from that year. I think they're really cool, like the Carl Yastrzemski. And obviously he didn't fall into this criteria, and neither did Willie McCovey, even though you can find a Willie McCovey in a 5, last I looked, for, you know, probably about 180 bucks. So again, with a lot of these, if you want a specific card of a Hall of Famer and their collector grade is out of your budget, then just drop down a grade. Like, you know, cards from the 50s in a 4 are still going to be pretty sharp cards, and cards from the 60s in a 5, same thing. And if one is, you know, way outside of your budget in a 6 for a card from the 60s, drop it down to a 4 if you need to. It's still going to be really a sharp card, in my opinion. So 1961 tops, you've got Ron Santo in an SGC 6, sold for 60 bucks on March 17th. And that's an amazing deal to me. And then next you have, also in 61 tops, you have Billy Williams. His sold for $66 in a PSA 6 on the 31st of March. So just yesterday, this card sold on eBay. So again, 2 Hall of Fame rookie cards in the 61 top set that fall into the criteria. And then the Juan Marichal is about 200 bucks for a 6. And then in 62 tops, we've got Gaylord Perry in an SGC 6, sold for best offer on eBay for under 100 bucks. And a PSA 6 sold for $139. Both of them were on March 26th, I believe. So $139, that's a little bit above the threshold. But you can find them right in that $100 range. So if you have a $50 a month budget, 2 months, and then you can buy almost every single one of these rookie cards in this final 24 that I'm talking about. And then we've got to skip to 1964 tops with the Phil Niekro, and an SGC 6 sold for $116 on March 29th. And that even seems a little bit high to me. I would bet if you did some digging that you could find them cheaper than that. And so, you know, a lot of these are lower level Hall of Famers, right? Like Phil Niekro, Jim Cott, Ron Santo, but they're Hall of Famers nonetheless. So for me, if you want to focus on Hall of Fame rookie cards, then why not pick up all these cheaper ones and pick up 24 cards to add to your collection of Hall of Fame rookie cards, and then start saving up your allowance longer to buy into the $200 and $300 cards if you have a $50 a month budget. If you want to get into vintage, and if you want to get into rookie Hall of Famers, let me put that out there. So 65 tops, we've got Joe Morgan in a PSA 6, sold for $121 on March 26th. And you can't say that Joe Morgan is a low-level Hall of Famer. Now, he may not get a lot of love within the hobby, but he's arguably the best, if not one of the best, second baseman of all time. He's got like 100 WAR for his career. And then this one got me geeked up because I love this card. A 1966 Topps Jim Palmer in a PSA 6, sold for $135 on March 25th. And to me, that's a really good deal. So if 135 bucks is you feel like maybe pushing your budget a little bit, go with a 5. It's going to be a great looking card. You can find them for under $100. And then in 66 Topps, we also have Fergie Jenkins. And a PSA 6 of his rookie card sold for $94 on the 24th of March. So it's amazing to me how many of these rookie cards of Hall of Fame players in collector grade can be found for under $100. And then we also in 66 have Don Sutton's rookie card. His sold for $109 on March 23rd. I don't know if that was SGC or PSA. I didn't write the grader down, but still, Don Sutton, Hall of Fame, 300 game winner, amazing pitcher that pitched all the way up into the, I think 86, 87. And then 69 tops, we have Raleigh Fingers sold for $70 yesterday, March 31st. And I don't remember if it was PSA or SGC, but still $70, like, that's crazy cheap to me. And then here we're going to get to where there are more in the 70s. So 72 tops, Ted Simmons. Carlton Fisk, Ted Simmons. Carlton Fisk, his PSA 7s are under $100. And to me, that's insane. And they're as cheap as $66 for a 72 tops Carlton Fisk in a collector grade. And Carlton Fisk may not be the best catcher of all time. I think that title would probably go to Johnny Bench, followed by Yogi Berra. But Carlton Fisk has to be up there with it, really close to that top 5 if he's not in it. So for me, under $100 for a 7 is insane. Like, I have a 5.5 that I'm going to upgrade at some point, but I can get an 8 for like $150 or something like that. And then 73 tops, we have Goose Gossage. His 7s are as low as $55 and as high as $80. And again, he's a relief pitcher. He was a closer. So again, not an upper level Hall of Famer. He's no Walter Johnson, no Cy Young, no Nolan Ryan. But still, $55 for a Hall of Fame rookie card, like, I'll take that all day. And then 74 tops, we have Dave Winfield. His 7s are around $100 to $120, and his 8s are around $200. And no one can call Dave Winfield a lower level Hall of Famer. Like, he's one of the all-time greats, had over 3,000 hits. I believe, if not 500 home runs, really close to it. And just one of the best players from the mid-70s to around the mid-80s or so. And just an amazing player Dave Winfield was, in my opinion. And then here's a shout out to Dylan at Double D Vintage. So 75 tops, Robin Yount, his favorite card. 7s are between $100 and $150. And again, if you're not comfortable with stretching up to $150 for your budget, 6s are under $100, and it will be a really sharp card for a 75 tops. Like, those cards are tough because of the colored borders, kind of similarly to the 71 tops. But that's an amazing card, one of my favorite rookie cards from the 70s. And there are a lot of rookie cards in the 75 set of Hall of Famers in general. But there are a lot of really cheap ones too. George Brett isn't cheap. He's a little bit more expensive, but Robin Yount is cheap. And then next we have Jim Rice. His 7s are well below $100. Like, you can find him in the $60 range all day long. And some people would debate whether or not Jim Rice belongs in the Hall of Fame, but he is in the Hall of Fame, and you can still find one of his Hall of Fame rookie cards in a collector grade for $60. I would guess an 8 is probably about $150 or so, and it's just absurdly cheap to me. 75 tops, Gary Carter. Like, this was, if I could steal Greg from Midlife Cards' mind blown animation he does on his videos, like, I would use it right here for Gary Carter. Gary Carter is under $50 in a 7. And again, Gary Carter is a Hall of Famer, one of the top 10 greatest catchers of all time, if not even a little bit higher. So for me, it's insane for under $50. And then 76 tops, Dennis Eckersley, you guys that are around my age will remember him as one of the greatest closers of all time. But his rookie cards in 76 tops can be found for $50 to $70 in a 7. And so again, an 8 would be under $200, and then you're talking about full-blown investor grade. And then this is pretty absurd here. So 77 tops, Bruce Suter in 7s for $30. $30. Like, that's the cost of a hanger box for 2024 tops at Walmart. So I would rather take $30 and buy a Bruce Suter rookie card. That's just my opinion. And then we also in 77 have Andre Dawson. And he can be found in a 7 for under $50. And again, one of the greatest players of the 80s. Everybody remembers the Hawk, Andre Dawson, for the Chicago Cubs. Like, at any moment when he swung the bat or ran the bases, you thought his legs may just explode because his knees were so bad. But he managed to keep it together and still win MVPs in the 80s and drove in over or hit over 400 home runs for his career on terrible, terrible knees. So for under $50, like, I'll take that. And then here's one I picked up not too long ago. 78 tops, Eddie Murray. Again, one of my favorite rookie cards of the 70s are selling in the $70 range for 7s. And he was a switch. All right, sorry about that. I'm back. My phone ran out of storage and cut my video on me. But I was talking about Eddie Murray. So Eddie Murray was a switch hitter with over 500 home runs in his career. A long-time fixture on the Baltimore Orioles, but he also played for the Dodgers and the Mets. I think Cleveland Indians. So he started bouncing around kind of a little bit later in his career, but again, one of the greatest players in the 80s and early 90s. And to find his rookie card in a collector grade for under $100 is insane to me. And then next, in 78, we have Jack Morris. Well, this is no surprise because Jack Morris, a lot of people don't even think belongs in the Hall of Fame. But if I'm not mistaken, he is the pitcher that has the most wins for the decade of the 90s. So his cards in 7s are around $20, which is nuts to me. And then again in 78, we have a bonus Hall of Famer card. We have Paul Molitor and Alan Trammel on the same rookie card. And 7s are around $50. And I saw when I was looking up the info for this card, I found 8s for under $100 on eBay. And again, that's just insane to me. And again, I'll put pictures up in the corner here for reference during the video. And a lot of you old-time collectors, I'm sure you're well aware of this, and I don't want to insult anyone's intelligence. This is for, the purpose of this video is to help people that are either newer in the hobby or younger collectors, or just collectors that never thought they could get into vintage, especially vintage rookie Hall of Famers. Because again, it's amazing to me how cheap that some of these can be found. And then the last one, and this has a very special place in my heart, 79 tops, Aussie Smith. And they sell in 7s for about $100 to $130, which again, may be above some of your budgets, but if it is, go down to a 6. You can get a 6s for under $100 all day long. The hardest part about this card is finding nice centered copies, because for whatever reason, the centering on the 79 set's not great, but the Aussie Smith card especially is tough to find centered. But then 8s are, in the $200 range. So really, even in an investor grade, it's not an extremely expensive card. And then, of course, I already touched on Ricky Henderson. He's a little bit more expensive. And then, of course, there are a lot of them in the 80s that are Hall of Fame rookie cards that are cheap. And if you like this video, let me know, and then maybe in the next video I'll cover into the 80s and maybe the 90s. But I wanted to focus on that, 50s through the 70s post-war vintage era. So lots of research for this video, lots of amazing cards that were way cheaper for some of them than I thought they were. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope everybody had a happy Easter. And my schedule's been crazy again. That's why I'm getting this video out on Monday. But at least I was able to sneak one out because our game was canceled today due to potential severe weather. So everybody be safe if you're in the Midwest. And again, I hope everybody had a happy Easter. I'll wrap it up with that. So until the next one, I hope everybody has a good one, and I'll talk to you later.